They disrespected the tribal chief. They spat on family legacy. And Solo Sikoa? He had the audacity to sit in Roman's throne and call himself the new tribal chief while the real OTC was gone. But here's what absolutely infuriates me about this situation. The WWE Universe actually cheered when Solo kicked Roman out of his own bloodline. Are you kidding me? After everything Roman built? After 1,316 days of dominance? You're telling me people supported this betrayal? This wasn't just a match at Crown Jewel 2024. This was war. This was family destroying family. This was the most personal, most brutal civil war in WWE history. And if you think you know what went down, think again. Because what happened in that ring will have you questioning everything you thought you knew about loyalty, brotherhood, and what it truly means to acknowledge your tribal chief. Let me ask you something before we dive deep into this absolute carnage, and I want you to drop your answer in the comments right now. Who do you think was the MVP of this match? Was it Roman, Jimmy, or did someone completely unexpected steal the show? Let's rewind the clock because you need to understand the poison that led to this moment. Roman Reigns disappeared after WrestleMania 40. The tribal chief, the man who carried WWE on his back for over 3.5 years, was gone. And what did Solo Sikoa do? He didn't honor the throne. He didn't protect the legacy. No, he took it. He reconstructed the bloodline in his own twisted image, bringing in Tama Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu, turning the most dominant faction in wrestling history into something unrecognizable. But it gets worse. Solo didn't just take over. He kicked Jimmy Uso out. He exiled Paul Heyman, the wise man who orchestrated every single championship defense, every single victory. And when Roman finally returned at SummerSlam 2024, Solo looked him dead in the eyes and refused to acknowledge him. The disrespect was suffocating. The audacity was unforgivable. And here's where my blood boils even more. Solo actually believed he was doing the right thing. He thought he was evolving the bloodline, making it stronger. But you can't strengthen something by destroying its foundation. You can't build a legacy by burning down everything that came before you. Now here's where it gets emotional, and I mean really emotional. Roman Reigns had to do something he swore he'd never do. He had to humble himself. He had to go back to the very brothers he manipulated, the very family he controlled with an iron fist for years. Jimmy Uso, Uso, the men he abused, the men he put through psychological torture, the men whose loyalty he questioned at every single turn. Think about what Roman had to sacrifice to make this reunion happen. His ego, his pride, everything that made him the tribal chief. He stood in that ring and essentially admitted, "I need you." Those 3 words must have killed him inside. And you know what? The Usos had every right to say no. They had every reason to walk away and let Roman deal with his own mess. Quick question for the comment section warriors out there. If you were G or Jimmy, would you have helped Roman after everything he put you through? Drop a yes or no below. But blood is thicker than water, and when family calls, real ones answer. The original bloodline was back. Roman, and Jimmy together again, not as the manipulative faction they once were, but as actual brothers fighting for their family's honor and legacy. Now let's talk about Crown Jewel 2024 in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The Mohammed Abdu Arena on the boulevard was shaking with anticipation. You could cut the tension with a knife. When Roman's music hit, when those drums started pounding, the place erupted. Love him or hate him, Roman Reigns is box office. He is the money. And after months away, seeing the OTC make that walk to the ring with the Usos by his side, absolute goosebumps. But then Solo's music hit, and the boos rained down like a monsoon. Solo Sikoa walked out with Tama Tonga Loa, and the absolute monster Jacob Fatu, a man who many consider the most dangerous Samoan wrestler on the planet right now. The size difference was intimidating. The intensity in their eyes was murderous. This wasn't about championships. This wasn't about opportunities. This was about respect. This was about who had the right to lead the family. The stare down before the bell even rang. Iconic. Roman and Solo, face to face, neither man blinking, neither man backing down. You could feel the hatred radiating from both sides. Brothers about to tear each other apart. When that bell rang, all hell broke loose immediately. These teams didn't feel each other out. They didn't test the waters. They went straight into 5th gear with both teams brawling all around the ring. The referee lost control within seconds, and honestly, that's exactly what this match needed to be. Controlled chaos, family warfare with no rules being respected. Let's talk about some of the most insane spots that had the entire wrestling world losing their minds. Jacob Fatu proved why he's called the Samoan werewolf. This man is 260 pounds of pure explosiveness, hitting moonsaults that have no right being executed by someone his size. When he launched himself over the top rope onto both Usos on the outside, the entire arena gasped. The hang time was ridiculous. The impact shook the floor. But here's what I loved about this match, the psychology. This wasn't just a spot fest. Every single move meant something. Every tag had purpose. When Jimmy took a vicious beating in the corner from all three members of the new Bloodline, you felt every single strike. When G finally got the hot tag and started unleashing those super kicks, the place went nuclear because we felt his anger, we felt his need for revenge. And Roman, the tribal chief, was on a mission. Every Superman punch landed with bad intentions. Every moment he was in the ring, he was proving exactly why he held that Universal Championship for 1,316 days. The man is simply on another level. Here's another question I need answered in the comments. What was the sickest spot in this entire match? Let me know what moment made you jump out of your seat. But what separated this match from every other tag team match was the emotion. You could see it in every exchange. When Roman and Solo finally locked up, the intensity was suffocating. These weren't just wrestlers executing moves, these were brothers who felt betrayed, trying to hurt each other in the most personal ways possible. There was a moment, and I'll never forget this, where Roman had Solo trapped in the corner, just unleashing clotheslines, and you could see the rage in his eyes. This wasn't the calculated, methodical tribal chief we've known for years. This was a man who had his throne stolen, his family disrespected, and his legacy questioned. This was personal. The Usos brought that same energy. Every superkick, every splash, every move was delivered with the message, you don't get to replace us. You don't get to erase what we built. Every great match has those moments where everything could go either way. And this match, it had several. Tamar Tonga and Tonga Loe proved they weren't just random additions to the faction. These guys brought legitimate intensity and experience from their careers in Japan. The double team maneuvers were crisp. The timing was perfect. They isolated Jimmy Uso for what felt like an eternity, cutting off the ring, using illegal tactics while the referee was distracted. But then, Jimmy made the tag to G, and my god did business pick up. G Uso was on fire, superkicks to everyone. The energy shifted completely, the momentum swung back to the OG Bloodline and you could feel it. The near falls in the final 5 minutes were insane. There was a moment where Jacob Thatcher hit a massive moonsault on G that had me convinced it was over. I jumped out of my chair thinking, this is it, the new Bloodline wins. But JUI kicked out. The resilience was unreal. Here's where this match transcended from great to legendary. The final sequence was absolute perfection. The original Bloodline showed why they're the greatest faction in modern WWE history. The chemistry, the teamwork, the synchronization, it all came together in those final moments. Roman hit a massive spear on Solo Sikoa, but he didn't go for the pin. Oh no. He looked at his brothers, and in that moment, there was an understanding. This wasn't Roman's victory to claim alone. This was their victory, their family, their legacy. The Usos climbed to opposite turnbuckles. The crowd was on their feet, and they hit simultaneous Uso splashes on Solo Sikoa. The impact was devastating. Roman covered. 1, 2, 3. The original Bloodline wins. The tribal chief reclaims his throne. The celebration wasn't arrogant. It wasn't cocky. It was relief. It was vindication. It was three brothers who went to war together and emerged victorious, proving that the real Bloodline, the original Bloodline, could never be replaced or replicated. But here's the million-dollar question that everyone's been debating since Crown Jewel: is this over? Did this match settle everything, or is this just the beginning of an even bigger war? Solo Sikoa is not the type to accept defeat. Jacob Thatcher is still one of the most dangerous men in WWE. The Tongans are lurking in the shadows. And Roman Reigns might have won this battle, but the war for the Bloodline's soul might just be getting started. Plus, let's address the elephant in the room. How long can the original Bloodline stay unified? Can Roman truly change? Can he lead without manipulation? Can the Usos trust him not to fall back into his old ways? These are the questions that will define the next chapter of this saga. Last question for you beautiful people in the comments: where does the Bloodline saga go from here? Do you think Roman will eventually turn on the Usos again? Or is this reunion permanent? Sound off below. What we witnessed at Crown Jewel 2024 wasn't just a match. It was a statement. It was the OTC reminding everyone exactly who runs the WWE. It was the Usos proving their worth as the greatest tag team of this generation. And it was a message to Solo Sikoa and anyone else who thinks they can hijack the family legacy. You can sit at the throne, but you can't be the throne. The Bloodline story has given us years of incredible television, unforgettable moments, and matches that will be talked about for decades. This crown jewel battle added another legendary chapter to that story. Roman Reigns walked into Saudi Arabia with everything to prove and everything to lose. He left as the tribal chief, the OTC, the head of the table, with his brothers by his side and his legacy intact. So to everyone who doubted Roman's return, to everyone who thought Solo's bloodline was an upgrade, to everyone who believed the original bloodline couldn't recapture their magic, Crown Jewel 2024 was your answer. And that answer was delivered with authority. If you enjoyed this breakdown of one of the most intense and emotional matches of 2024, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications because Wrestling Zone 1 brings you the realest analysis in the game. Drop your thoughts in the comments, I read every single one. And remember, whether you love him or hate him, whether you agree with his methods or despise everything he stands for, there's one undeniable truth in WWE: we all acknowledge the tribal chief. Index finger pointing up.